teaching you, because to me, when I just as an adult man, getting past the toxic masculinity that's held me back, I've decided that masculinity, in my opinion, means taking care of your responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Showing up.
Yeah.
Showing up. And it sounds like you, and that's why I like to have this group of people, because I want us to talk about this. Like, so not only what it is, what do we do about it, and how do we make sure we have more, in our opinion, hopefully, more situations like that where somebody can say, you know, my dad, by example, and he was bop, 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 bop.
But if being a man is showing up, look at the dearth of that in society. Like, I don't know if that's, again, like the thing that I find most disparaging is that masculinity is such a beautiful thing. The things that we should attribute to men in terms of just like, and again, I'm not talking about anything defined by biological sex, the point, just like those who feel that they are men, right? Like, there is warmth there is comfort there is, when I think of not my biological father, but the man, if I ever talk about my dad, like, he's such a warm person. He would do anything for me. I literally got my dad out there buying me a car right now because I don't want to. Like, he's such a wonderful person. Like, when Jazz talks about that spiritual side, he is literally a father to people who he meets every single Sunday. He is a shepherd. He is a father figure, right? And I hate that when somebody asks you, what is masculinity, it is almost invariably something that we disdain. And I think it has caused such hurt for people in a place where it shouldn't be, right? Like, and that's the thing that I hate most. And I think toxic masculinity, and when I say toxic, I mean that which refuses to acknowledge that being masculine is beauty, having attributes of feminine that coincide with the masculine is beauty, being soft, being flawed, being fallible is part of being man.
I'm sorry. Can y'all talk about more what she's talking about having these emotions?
And that's probably one of my biggest ones, is that it, like, we talk even about just like toxic masculinity, but to be honest, just, you know, we call it toxic masculinity now just because we are changing the definition of masculinity, at least in current days. But definitely, like, our ancestors' idea of it was not really with emotion. You know what I mean? Like, men were not exactly taught to have them, or how to not to express them, certainly, and not how to express them properly with anyone else. You know,
ones were acceptable and others were not.
Right.
Can I ask? Please.
Yeah.
What is? I must have missed it. What is toxic masculinity?
Sexism, might makes right. Illusions combined with fears of rejection that energize insatiable lust for proof of superiority and entitlements to dominate, exploit, and abuse with impunity.
Hold on, that's the definition?
That's a definition. Because toxic masculinity is
can you read it one more time, please?
I will, but let me preface with this. Masculinity, I think what we're kind of agreeing on is masculinity is a concept that's both societal and personal, right? And it's dynamic, right? So this is a definition that a psychiatrist of how she describes it, because toxic masculinity is this idea of a masculinity that forces it to only be one way, when the truth is every individual has a right to claim their own masculinity. Because masculinity is not just a male thing, and all people are touched with masculinity at different times, because we have mothers and fathers.
Okay, again, what is toxic masculinity?
Say it one more time.
And number two, now that you said what you just said, do you know we have chromosomes in us that are both masculine and feminine? Which
is what we're basically saying, is that we are both masculine and feminine. So to be told that one is wrong to show traits of is almost against our nature. So that's why it is then toxic.
Okay, I see my man, I forgot his name again, with the yellow sweatshirt. He's trying to say something.
How do you forget that name?
Is it not at the bottom of your screen? You do not have everybody's name?
I don't have his, unfortunately.
Oh, interesting.
I got Omar's, I got Durier's,
He's gonna list us now.
Don't do me like that, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna do you like. Go ahead.
It's okay.
It's okay. We know you're talking about Jazz.
Okay,
We know-
Cass, I see it now. I see it now.
Yo, what's up?
He's trying to say something. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I thought you were asking me a question.
Yeah, he was.
No, I was asking the panel, what is toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity. One more again, Nathan. One more again. Sexism and toxic masculinity. Might makes right thought process, okay? Illusions combined with fears of rejection that energize insatiable lust for proof of superiority and entitlements to dominate, exploit, and abuse with impunity.
Okay. Do you know females are afraid of rejection?
And we're not saying that we're not saying toxic masculinity is only something men deal with. We're really agreeing with you on that. Toxic masculinity is something that we all deal with.
So I have a question. Okay, so how much of, with all the stuff that you just said a few minutes ago, Durier, how much of I guess masculinity can we contribute to our parents' manipulation versus
Society.
our society and your genetic makeup? Like,
What do you mean?
Like in terms of, we know we have, female traits and male traits.
Right.
But if as a child I am, my mother raised me, and
Right.
for example, how much of my mother's influence dictates, what I define masculinity as, and how I end up turning out as a man, whether I'm super masculine or more of a feminine man. Like,
I think I actually would love to respond to that for a few reasons. Okay, I'm gonna give you one on the DNA tip, right? Not the DNA tip. You said genealogical, right? The biological, right?
The genome. Talk about the genome.
Omar, you sing, right? You're a tenor, right?
Right.
To some people, that signifies a female trait.
I'm a tenor. That's
right. So, but Kiana's a tenor, and for a woman, that's a masculine trait.
Masculine trait.
Right.
Right.
So the point is, but that's still a concept because you just are that way. It's not necessarily. Right. It's not saying that feminine or masculine is bad, but that's on that side of it. There's certain things that are gonna happen. Some people like, I can't get none of this to grow in. I've been trying for about.
Your whole life. Your whole life, Durier.
So my cheeks are apparently feminine, but this ain't. Right.
But no, that's the thing.